Blog Talk Radio.
Psalm 48.
Mizmor Memchet, Shir Mizmor Livne Korah.
Great is the Lord, and greatly to be praised in the city of our God, in the mountain of his holiness. Beautiful for situation, the joy of the whole earth, is Mount Zion on the sides of the north, the city of the great King. God is known in her palaces for a refuge. For lo, the kings were assembled. They passed by together. They saw it, and so they marveled. They were troubled and hasted away. Fear took hold upon them there, and pain as of a woman in travail. Thou breakest the ships of Tarshish with an east wind. As we have heard, so have we seen in the city of the Lord of hosts, in the city of our God. God will establish it forever. Selah. We have thought of thy loving kindness, O God, in the midst of thy temple. According to thy name, O God, so is thy praise unto the ends of the earth. Thy right hand is full of righteousness. Let Mount Zion rejoice. Let the daughters of Judah be glad because of thy judgments. Walk about Zion, and go round about her. Tell the towers thereof. Mark ye well her bulwarks. Consider her palaces, that ye may tell it to the generation following. For this God is our God forever and ever. He will be our guide forever, forever.
And that's a life when I promote the heights of level. So the burn them evil concept, because we have to get to the destruction to the humanity. That's what I say. What do I say now? Hey, check this, sure. Jaja city, Jaja town, them off it on it in a cowboy town. We look and know. Jaja city, Jaja town, them off it on it in a dead man town. We look and know. Mr. John Conjack of Vision Brown. We now are no more than in a town. Mr. Happy Gospel of Kitty got happy out. We now want no more dead body. Well, Mr. Joe kill quick. We don't want no more hits. We don't want no more grave. We don't want no more casket. Well, life we promote with its righteousness. Saddam get a lick. We don't look and know. Jaja city, Jaja town. Them want to turn it in a cold white town. We don't look and know. Bloody city, bloody town. Want turn it in a rude boy town. We don't look and know. Them a tell me how them call. Big 45 we shoot out them brother mole. No pass them cold like up at the North Pole. So them shoot down the hung, shoot down the hole, shoot down the puss and all the dog and the pole. Every weekend them take a next payroll. Out of one pocket them shoot out Bill Paul. This Marcus Garvey no fed off his roll. Look out now, Jaja city, Jaja town, them have it on it in a cowboy town. Look out now, Jaja city, Jaja town, them have it on it in a dead man town. Them think them is the ultimate, yo, but them no reach nowhere yet. Them get caught in the internet. Of society, I tell me them my intellect, them promote too much debt. Look out now, Jaja city, Jaja town, them a turn it in a bad man town. Look out now, Jaja city, Jaja town, them a be turn it in a cowboy town. Want to carve you say 10 miles out of the city. It a go get too smitty. One is a Janamigo, one Miss Smitty. One all the shot amigo, one all the hitty. No for them kill man without pity. Wrong kind of sip me, I'll go catch them a sippy. Shoot them, licky them sicky. Rastafari, judgment with blue hall. Yo, Jaja city, Jaja town, them not on the in a cowboy town. Look at you, bloody city, bloody town. So the in a rude boy town. Them niggas shut down in the east. Tell them to hold the peace. We don't want no more coffin. We don't want no more eat.
Oh yeah, yeah. representing. Woe be unto the bloody city that's filled with liars, robbers, and thieves. Depart from evil and do good. Depart from evil and do good. Yeah. Just look upon the faces of man to see if there was anywhere there. No, no, not one. No, 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 not one. We all together become foolish and foolish. Didn't accept the wisdom of Jehovah. Depart from evil and good. Depart from evil and good. Whoa, why yo, 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 yo. Why yo, 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 yo. Why yo, 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 yo. Why yo, 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 yo. Some trust in chariots, some trust in horses, some trust in silver, some trust in gold. I trust in the Most High. I depart from evil and good. Depart from evil and good. Yes. Why-yo, why-yo, yo-yo. Why-yo, why-yo, yo-yo. Why-yo, why-yo, yo-yo. Why-yo, why-yo, yo-yo. Don't put your trust in medicine. God will love for humanity. Don't put your trust in vanity. Warrior to the bloody city. It's filled with lions, robbers, and thieves. Woe be unto the bloody city. That's filled with lions, robbers, and thieves. Warrior, warrior, yo, yo. Warrior, warrior, yo, yo. Warrior, warrior, yo, yo. Warrior, warrior, yo, yo.
Too hard music.
One civilization is not complete without its art, the highest form of expression of human intelligence. You have become complacent, sitting down and allowing the other nations to run away with everything. You have become a bunch of consumers. You are creators. Rise up, mighty people, and accomplish what you will. Without confidence, you're twice defeated in the race of life.
Let's took away the voices that gave the people pride. Now we're plunging into darkness. We all have to play our part, make a bold start. Every disc, tell every artist. Media houses, we notice, still have support the slackness. How so much alcohol in our parties. While the girls are broke out at this upper, we should drink, knock her out. Now she don't care with them crap her up.
It's times like these, some missing our heroes. Times like these, I really wish they were around. It's not enough to be like this.
Afraid of the shot at them, now we have a lot of them. Press up, back up, now the grave them a go back again. Them rock the national bird wing. Sell we out clean, me no think we own a damn thing. Jam rock, why we giving in to the trick where them a trick we from the beginning. Parents unity, wake up from the slumber, release with children, blood them is running. It's times like these, some missing our heroes. Times like these, I really wish they were around. Shouldn't have to be like this. But Marley, you know you never die in vain. We where them tell you about the bucket we go well. Black woman put on your baggy, that's something they no fit sell. And so we get the doors and society go well. Go ask them who put the crab in a barrel. BM opposition, no done with the quarrel. Unite, come together, see the people out with still.
It's times like these, I'm missing our hero. Times like these, I really wish they were around. Shouldn't have to be like this. Oh, Miss Lou, we need you. At the first me heard that it, hundreds and counting for the murder, this salute it.
They took away the voices and gave the people pride. Now we're plunging into darkness. We all have to play our part, make a bold start. Every disc, tell every artist. Me now, you know I'm support the slackness. So much alcohol in our parties. While the girls are broke out and this up over she drink, knock her out. Now she don't care where them crap her up.
It's times like these, I'm missing our hero. Times like these, I really wish they were around. We need you, we need you, we need you, Sam Shah. We need you, we need you, we need you, Daddy. Yeah. It's times like these, I'm missing our hero. Times like these, I really wish they were around. Shouldn't have to be like this. Marcus Garvey. We know that you try your best, but we have.
You know, we have ones that's Rastafari, live in the city, Kingston City, Manhattan, like I, you know, we live amongst our universal brothers and sisters, and Rastafari is for each and every one. So it's not this way out thing where you have to live in the forest, no. But you have ones that live in the forest, and they hold an order for the ones like I and I who can come in now and hold our meds and come to these places and remove ourselves from that type of way and still confine our brothers in the midst of the jungle as well as in the city. Exactly. So it's a brotherhood throughout universe. iPhones included, cameras included, cars included, planes, palace, huts, rivers, oceans, the whole thing. Huh?
And the thing about it as well is that Rastafari is not a cult. Yes? No. So we're not looking for more followers to say, hey, everyone has to come and be Rastafari. No, we're looking at people and their heart.
We are all about love.
Rastafari. Africa is a must. So nobody post now cause you have to jump on this bus. Zion born, right?
Psalm 48.
Mizmor Memchet, Shir Mizmor Livne Korah.
Great is the Lord, and greatly to be praised in the city of our God, in the mountain of his holiness. Beautiful for situation, the joy of the whole earth, is Mount Zion on the sides of the north, the city of the great king. God is known in her palaces for a refuge, for lo, the kings were assembled. They passed by together, they saw it, and so they marveled. They were troubled and hasted away. Fear took hold upon them there, and pain as of a woman in travail. Thou breakest the ships of Tarshish with an east wind. As we have heard, so have we seen in the city of the Lord of hosts, in the city of our God. God will establish it forever. Selah. We have thought of thy loving kindness, O God, in the midst of thy temple. According to thy name, O God, so is thy praise unto the ends of the earth. Thy right hand is full of righteousness. Let Mount Zion rejoice. Let the daughters of Judah be glad because of thy judgments. Walk about Zion, and go round about her. Tell the towers thereof. Mark ye well her bulwarks. Consider her palaces, that ye may tell it to the generation following. For this God is our God forever and ever. He will be our guide forever, 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 forever.
Mizmor Memchet, Shir Mizmor Livne Korah. Gadol Adonai umehulal meod, Be'ir Elohenu har kodsho. Yefe nof mesos kol haaretz, Har Tzion yarkete tzafon, Kiryat melech rav. Elohim be'armenoteha noda lemisgav, כי הנה המלכים נועדו, עברו יחדיו. המה ראו כן תמהו, נבהלו נחפזו. רעדה אחזתם שם, חיל כיולדה. ברוח קדים תשבר אוניות תרשיש. כאשר שמענו כן ראינו, בעיר אדוני צבאות, בעיר אלוהינו. אלוהים יכונניה עד עולם סלע. דימינו אלוהים חסדך בקרב היכליך. כשמך אלוהים כן תהילתך על כתבי ארץ, צדק מלאה ימינך. ישמח הר ציון, תגלנה בנות יהודה למען משפטיך. סובו ציון והקיפוה, ספרו מגדליה. שיטו לבכם לחילה, פסגו ארמנותיה. למען תספרו לדור אחרון, כי זה אלוהים אלוהינו עולם ועד, הוא ינהגנו על מות.
Great is the Lord, and greatly to be praised in the city of our God, the mountain of His holiness. Beautiful is thy creation, joys of the whole earth, is Mount Zion. And the size of the north is the city of a great king, Yah. God known in our place for thy refuge, for Lord the kings assembled. They passed by together, they saw it, and so they marveled. They troubled and hasted away, for they took hold upon them, pains as a woman travels. Thou breakest a ship of Zion with east wind, as herb and oak of east seas, the city of the Lord. Oh. In the city of our God will I establish it forever, ever, ever. We have choose all the loving kindness, our God, in the midst of thy temple. According to thy name, O God, so the praise unto the ends of the earth. Righteousness in the hands of righteousness. Let Mount Zion be rejoiced, yes. Let the daughter of Judah be glad, because thy judgment, Yah. Walk about Zion and go around about here. Tell it towards before, Yah. Great is the Lord and greatly to be praised in the city of our God, the mountain of His holiness. Beautiful for invitation, for joy, and the whole earth, Yah. Mount Zion and the sides of the north, the city of the great king. God known in her place for the refuge. For lo, as the kings were assembled and passed by together, they saw it. And so they marveled, they troubled and hasted away. Fear took hold upon them, they have been as a woman that travels. The unseen as a woman that go on a travel, Yah. I saw a ship travels with east wind, and we have heard heaven seen the city of the Lord of hosts. The city of our God will I establish it forever. Forever will I establish it, Yah. Yeah.
Yes. Erev Tov. Good evening, right here, Monday, the Monday podcast here on the second day of the Shabua. So Shabua Tov, a good Shabua, a good strong, a good week right here. We're in a new week here. We have another Torah reading and feeding, this weekly Torah portion reading and feeding, the 25th, known as Tzav, Shabbat Tzav. That's the modern Hebrew there. Shabbat Tzaw, from Tzawa, Tzawa to command. Sabbath command. So here's the second reading. Have the second reading and feeding right here in the third book of Moshe, Hebrew book that's known as Leviticus. Now we had left off with the basic questions for Shabbat Vayikra. That's the 24th sabbatical study. And here, let's go over some of these discussion topics. Come, as we say, make I and I reason. So here we're moving forward to the 25th, but here, let's just go over the discussion topics, because what we find right here, there's a bill that's going on, basic bill. So right here we have about 6 discussion topics for Shabbat Vayikra, Shabbat and he called, Shabbat Vayikra, Here, Leviticus chapter 1 to Leviticus chapter 6, verse 7, some of the discussion topics right here. First item, the climax of Sinai, what's called the Sinai climax. Mount Sinai, Har Sinai. The climax of Sinai was the mitzvah, right? The commandment to construct the tabernacle, the Mishkan HaMishkan, to construct the tabernacle. So the climax of that revelation at Mount Sinai was to construct the tabernacle. That in turn is centered upon the laws, the Torot. The Torot is the Torah in the plural sense. In other words, there's the direction instruction of the altar, direction instruction of the brazen altar, which is distinct from direction instruction of the golden altar of Aishans, the direction instruction of this offering, direction instruction of that offering, altogether one comprehensive direction instruction. But here we have the centering, right, upon the directions and instructions, the Torot of Ha-Mizbeach, the Mizbeach. What is the Mizbeach? The Mizbeach is the altar. So let us reason, make I and I reason, come, and discuss the narrative. The narrative here of redemption beginning with the blood of the Lamb, with the blood of the Lamb in Mitzrayim, in the 2 lands, in the Tawi that's called Egypt. The giving of the law code, the Torah code to Yisrael, and how these right here relate the sacrificial rites. How do they relate to the sacrificial rites? And what do you think Ha-Elohim, the Elohim, the true Elohim, the true good, the true God, was trying to teach Yisrael? What do we think with these direction instructions as we go over it right here in the third book of Moshe, in the handbook, what's referred to as the handbook, right, of the Kohanim, the laws of the Kohanim, of the priests, the Sefer Vayikra, the book of sacrifices. What do the I and I think that Yahuwah, Eloheinu, I Elohim, was trying to teach Israel, through this sequence of revelation that we have right here? So first discussion topic, reasoning topic, is concerning the climax of Sinai, of Har Sinai, of Mount Sinai, being the commandment to construct the structure, right, known as the tabernacle. That in turn centered upon the laws, the direction instructions, the Torot of Ha-Mizbeach, the laws of the altar, discussing the narrative of redemption that begins from Shemot, known as Exodus, the second book, with the blood of the Lamb and the theme, even the theme covering, even among those within Christianity or those who are Christian, especially among the called, chosen, and faithful, right? The theme of the blood of the Lamb. But even that, it begins, according to the Revelation, with the narrative of redemption right here, beginning with the blood of the Lamb in Mitzrayim, the giving of the law code to Yisrael, and how these relate to the sacrificial rites. And what do we think? What do we think, right, that Elohim was trying to teach Yisrael through this sequence? There's a sequence here of revelation. Come. Make I discuss, make I reason here. The second topic of discussion that's directly connected with Shabbat Vayikra, the 24th sabbatical study, before we move forward right here. The second item, in modern English, when you hear the word sacrifice, what do you think about? What comes to mind? All right. See, in modern English, the word, quote, sacrifice, end quote, it usually it means an act of self-deprivation. You're depriving yourself. When we give up something of value for the sake of a greater value. Check. In modern English, the word sacrifice, when we use this word sacrifice, or we often hear the word sacrifice being used in modern nowadays English, it usually means an act of self-deprivation, to deprive yourself. When we give up something of value we're giving up for the sake of a greater value. That's what it means in modern English. So we talk about the book of sacrifice, right here, Leviticus, third book of the Torah, of the Torah, right? Third book of Moshe right here. And we see the word sacrifice, reading it from low degrees to high degrees, we see the word sacrifice. And we have our own ideas that we have become familiar with what sacrifice means, right? We give an example right here that sacrifice usually means an act of depriving oneself, self-depra, right? Deprivation, right? And the essence of this is to give up something of value, right? Like like somebody say they're sacrificing, and what they're sacrificing that doesn't really have any value to them or to anyone else. It's not really a sacrifice in the truer sense, even in modern English, of the word sacrifice. But sacrifice means giving up something of value for the sake of a greater value. That's just in the world, we could say, in the English basic sense. But in HaTorah, right, in the Torah, however, the idea of sacrifice has more to do with making an offering to Ha-Elohim, right, to Yahweh Elohim, Aina Elohim, as a means of drawing near to him. See, to even present that offering, one must draw near. They must draw near to the holy place, right? And also drawing near to the altar, right? In other words, where it says none shall, where it says in HaTorah, where it says 3 times in a year shall the males of Yisrael present themselves, and none shall appear. Appear. None shall appear, right? Empty. Right? Reikam. Remember Yeshua, Robeno say, don't call, when calling their brother like Raka, like empty. That's the same sense. But none shall appear, right? Empty. Right? So in drawing near, there's an offering that is brought. This is the Torah, the basic Torah sense. The idea of sacrifice, because we have the word korban and karban. Korban, ones might say in modern English, korban, but in the Hebrew root, the karob, from karab, means to draw near, right? So it has to do with making an offering to Yahweh Eloheinu as a means, right? A ways and a means of drawing near to him. So
Here's the reasoning, right? Discussion topic number 2 right here. Is there a real distinction here? Is there a real distinction here between the so-called modern idea of sacrifice, right? Or do these really mean the same thing? In other words, the two ideas. The modern sense of sacrifice means usually an act of self-deprivation, depriving ourselves of something, usually something of value, giving up something, usually something of value for the sake of a greater value. In the Torah, this idea of sacrifice has more to do with making an offering to Yahweh Eloheinu, right, to Ha Elohim, as a means of drawing near to him. So is there a real distinction here between the modern English sense of the word sacrifice and the central idea, right, in Ha-Torah, in the Torah, Jah's direction instructions? Here. Discussion item number 3. Come. Make I and I reason. Let's reason on this right here. Third discussion topic here. The very first sacrifice that's revealed in the Torah. What's the very first sacrifice that's revealed in the Torah? The very first sacrifice that's revealed in the Torah, or more commonly in the Bible, right, was offered actually by Yahweh, by Atzmo, by Jehovah himself, when he slaughtered a lamb to cover the shame of Adam and Hawa, or Chava, Adam and Eve, according to Bereshit, Genesis chapter 3, verse 21. So, the very first sacrifice that's revealed in the Hebrew scriptures, in the Torah, or elsewhere in the translation of the Bible, right, is that which Jehovah himself offered when he slaughtered the lamb to cover the shame of Adam, right, Adam with Hawa, V'Chava, right, and Eve, according to Genesis 3:21. Now, later, Adam's sons, Cain with Abel, with Hebel, right, Cain and Abel, right, they made offerings, but only Abel's, right, only Abel's offering was accepted. Lama, why? Lama zeh, why this? Why? Why was only Abel's offering accepted? Now, name other examples of sacrifices that were offered to Elohim before, keyword, before the construction of the structure known as the tabernacle. Name some other examples of sacrifices that were offered to Yahweh Eloheinu, to Elohim, before the construction of the tabernacle. Here. Discussion topic number 4 right here. Come. Make I and I reason. The Brit Hadasha, the Adis Kidan, otherwise known as the New Covenant, called the New Testament, it explains that Adonenu Yeshua, that Yeshua is the fulfillment of all the sacrifices required at HaMishkan, at the tabernacle. And we are declared righteous, tzadikim, righteous ones, when we trust in him as our Kohen Gadol, as our big priest, as our high priest of the Brit Hadasha, of the new covenant with Elohim, with his Elohim, our Elohim, his Father, our Father. Now, Christians are now called, those in Moshiach, Nazarenes, those in the way, truth, and life, are now called to offer, quote, sacrifices of praise, end quote. So those in the way, truth, and life of Yeshua HaMoshiach, Nazarenes, Meshachawian, Messiahites, or as ones are called even nowadays, Christians, are now called to offer, quote, sacrifices of praise, and to live as Korban Chai. What is Korban Chai? Korban Chai, Korban Chai, Korban Chai, a living sacrifice, Lifnei Elohim, before Elohim, the true good, the true God. So come, make we reason and let's discuss what these things mean. What does these things mean? Considering how the New Testament explains that Yeshua HaMoshiach is the fulfillment of all the sacrifices required at HaMishkan, particularly those sacrifices concerning sin, right? And we are declared righteous when we trust in him as our high priest, Kohen Gadol, of the new covenant, the Brit Chadasha, with Elohim, the true good, the true God. Therefore, those in Christ, those in Moshiach, Christians, Messiahites, Nazarenes are now called to offer sacrifices of praise and to live up, right? To live as Korban Chai, which is living sacrifice, Korban Chai or Korban Chai. So let's discuss what these things mean, Chabarim. Here. Come. Fifth item of discussion, the Bible. The Bible is described, right? How is the Bible described? Well, in many different ways, but here for this discussion topic right here, fifth one, the Bible is described as a, quote, a book of blood and as a bloody book, end quote. Have you heard that? The Bible is described and has been described as a book of blood and a bloody book, end quote. You see, the sacrificial system functions as a, quote, parable, a mashal, as a parable, a misale, as a parable, as a mashal for us, for I and I, or as a metaphor of Hailahim, of the true Elohim's redemptive plan, later revealed in the life and death and resurrection and ascension of Yeshua HaMoshiach, where propitiation for our sins, or offering in a sense for our sins, was made, according to Romans chapter 3, verse 25. By faith, right? By way of faith, emuna, admittance, amen, right? By faith, we, quote, lean our hands up on the head, the Rosh, the Ras, the Rosh of Yeshua, trusting that he is our sin bearer before Ha'ab, before the Father. So let's discuss the divine, quote, life for life, end quote, principle. Let's discuss what is known as the divine life for life principle of Yeshua's life, given for you, given for I and I. Here, come. Make I and I discuss. Come make we reason right here. Sixth and final item right here, right, for Shabbat, Vayikra here in discussion topics. Sixth item, participating in a substitutionary sacrifice ritual. It causes the sinner, the lacker, right, to recognize the nature of his offense and his culpability, his mea culpa. Quote, were it not for Elohim's acceptance of this sacrifice in my stead, I would merit a place up on the altar, end quote. Let's go over that again. Participating in a substitutionary sacrifice ritual, such as what we have here in HaTorah, right? It caused the sinner, the lacker, the ucker, the guilty, to recognize the nature of his offense and his culpability. That means being responsible, to say his mea culpa, right? This is kind of what is said by one who recognizes, were it not for Yah's acceptance of this sacrifice in my stead instead of me, I would merit a place up on HaMizbeach, upon the altar. Now, this idea is similar to the theology of, quote, penal substitutionary atonement. What is penal substitutionary atonement? That is, Yah, Ha-Elohim, the true Elohim's demand for justice is satisfied with the exchange of a sacrificial victim's blood. Remember another one that said that Bible was described as a book of blood and a bloody book, right? And it says without blood, there is no, So here, this idea is similar to the theology of penal substitutionary atonement. That is, Elohim's demand for justice being satisfied with what? With the exchange of a sacrificial victim's blood. In other words, punishment for chet or chatiyat, sin, akri, missing the mark, must involve the shedding of blood. This is a very ancient principle, and even here in HaTorah, it's the principle, right? You could say behind the principle. And the sacrifice, quote, it pays the penalty. The sacrifice, in other words, pays the penalty, right, for the sinners, the ucker, the lacker's offense, the offender's offense against a set-apart Elohim, a holy God. Now, let's discuss this here. The idea of substitutionary atonement, right? Substitutionary atonement, and also let's put atonement within this more Hebraic context, where atonement, the kapar, the kapar is like a covering, that which covers. Almost like an insurance policy, this covers that. Substitutionary covering or atonement. How are your sins, the chatiyat, the chet, sin, lack, forfeiture, imputed or imputed to Yeshua? How are your sins, your uckeries, inputted or imputed to Yeshua? And how does his blood, Damo, cleanse you from chatiyat, chet, and mavet? How does his blood cleanse you from sin and death? Come, make I and I reason. Here's some discussion topics right here for Shabbat, Wayikra, Sabbath, and he called. Many are called. Yes, I, Rastafari. So here, with that right there, we're moving forward for the Shabbat Tzav, Shabbat Tzav, Shabbat Command. Here we pick up here the 25th sabbatical study here from Leviticus, chapter 6, verse 8 to chapter 8, verse 36. All right. Here we have, here the questions pick up. About 29 to 30 questions here. Very, very important section right here. But to that theme, Chaverim, or sacrifice, let's just share this one right here. Again, psyche and symbol. Soul, the soul, right? The psyche, the mind, the soul and symbol. Ritual sacrifice right here. I think it's Joseph Campbell.
The animal associated with the moon, as the lion is associated with the sun, typically is the bull, whose beautiful horns resemble or suggest the horns of the crescent moon. And as the moon dies to be resurrected, so in rituals, the bull is killed to be resurrected. You can't have new life unless you have old death. These things go together. And they're celebrated in the midst of, in the rituals of sacrifice, the bull sacrifice. In Egypt, in Mesopotamia, among the Greeks, and anywhere where there were bulls is frequently the prime sacrifice. It's charming in India when you see families in a little bullock cart going to a festival. The horns of the bullocks will be decorated. The horns of the bull are the lunar signs. The bull is associated with Shiva. Fraser in The Golden Bough, I think, has made the point irrefutably that the prime sacrifice in the old, early king ships was the king. This is the young Cretan king. You never see pictures of old Cretan kings. There's a cycle, frequently of about 8 years, associated with the cycle of the planet Venus, where the king is killed. There's the book, The King Must Die, which brings this thing forward. And then substitute for the king was the bull. In Egypt, for example, the Sed festival was a festival when a very special bull was sacrificed. Now, the attitude of antiquity to sacrifice is something that I don't think we can appreciate very well. The animal sacrificed or the young person sacrificed was perfect. Anyone with a flaw was unworthy to be sacrificed. And the big surprise, the thing that really lets you know that it's another psychology, comes when you read about the ball games of the Maya Indians. The ball courts, this was a ritual game, and the captain of the winning team was beheaded in the field by the captain of the losing team. It's the winner who is worthy to be sacrificed, and that is the climax of a life. I don't think, as captain of a basketball team, I would urge my team with great enthusiasm.
Something to think about right there. That's one of the aspects of sacrifice. Remember, in the discussion topics, modern English word sacrifice usually means an act of self-deprivation, when we give up something of value for the sake of a greater value. In our Torah, the idea here is that sacrifice has more to do with making an offering to Elohim as a means of drawing near to him. So that distinction with sacrifice, but also within that there's some interesting principle that in true sacrifice, even among ancient peoples, the principle was that that which was sacrificed was thought of being perfect. You see, we have, I think, a warped idea like they're going to sacrifice somebody because they just don't like. But there must be a thought of this one being perfect, being a suitable offering instead of. Remember that last discussion topic right there? Were it not for Elohim's acceptance of this sacrifice in my stead, I would merit a place up on the altar. But here it's that first idea of sacrifice. Here, Queen Omega will make a sacrifice. Here it is.
You really think it's easy being an artist? But you don't know the sacrifice we make, the journeys we take. That's why me I tell it straight. Never see the right and the wrong side. You only see the fame and the limelight. You only see a rising star, but you never know that I come from far. The long journeys and the tiring trips. When I'm on the road, love fills me up with chips. Today I'm in Trinidad, tomorrow in Brazil for a big thing. So I've got to work, I've got to pay the price, I've got to work, I've got to sacrifice. Respect to the working class. Lazy body better get off your ass. Got to work, gotta sacrifice, got to work. In a this your life. When you put your shoulder to the wheel, what a good sight you will feel. I go to the north and I go south. I go east, west, so I'm all about doing my work up on. Chatting with the most I am well on course. Radio interviews and the sound check. Jingle stoplight and I just can't forget. Well, if at times I practice to bring my people sweet roots music, so I've got to work, I've got to pay get off your ass. Got to work, gotta sacrifice, got to work, got to pay the price. When you put your shoulder to the wheel, what a good fight you will feel. Oh, you got to work, gotta sacrifice, got to work. In addition life, respect to the working class. You know you reap the benefits at last. You got to gain some and you got to lose. You got to give and take what's the road you choose. Buckle up your belt tight and your shoes. Life is a journey, you have to move. Moving up, life getting better. You on top of things, you a trendsetter. Keep in mind and just remember, nothing really lasts forever. No, no, I've got to work. Gotta pay the price. Got to work. Got to sacrifice. Respect to the working class. Lazy body better get off your ass. Got to work. Gotta sacrifice. Got to work. In a busy life, when you put your shoulder to the wheel, what a good fight you will feel.
Yes. So here for Shabbat Sav. Modern Hebrew Shabbat Sav, or Shabbat Sav, command, Sav, command. Here we pick up with Leviticus chapter 6, verse 8 to Leviticus chapter 8, verse 36, right here. Now that's especially like in the English, we find that there's interesting difference of numbering. I think we noted in the Parsha Aliot, the portions when read, when there's a difference from the Hebrew text to the English text, according to like the numbering, which is kind of arbitrary, but there's a Hebrew numbering, and then sometimes the English numbering generally favors it, but then there are areas where it's different. But here for Shabbat Sav, command. Sav, modern Hebrew, Sav, command. Saw, command. Here we have a synopsis right here for this 25th sabbatical study for the Shabbat Strong. Synopsis and the overview. Once again, recall that the climax of the revelation given at Har Sinai and Mount Sinai was the mitzvah, the commandment to construct the sanctuary, otherwise called Ha-Mishkan, the Mishkan, or the tabernacle. Nearly half of the book of Exodus is focused on the tabernacle, and the book concludes with the Shekinah glory of Elohim filling the Holy of Holies section of the tent. The book of Leviticus begins right where the book of Exodus left off, with Hailahim, the Elohim, the true good, the true God, calling, Wa Yikra, calling out to Moshe from the tent of meeting, the Ohel Moed, to explain the various living creatures, the animal, and the grain offerings, collectively called korbanot, the korbanot, that may be offered at the new tabernacle. So here for this Shabua, for this strong in this week's Torah portion, many of the Torot, direction, instructions of the sacrifices given to the people are repeated. Though this time, Moshe addressed Ha-Kohanim, the priests, directly, and provided additional details about how to perform their functions. For example, Ha-Kohanim, the priests, the Hebrew priests, the anointed ones, let's say the Christians in the camp, because they're the only ones who are called anointed ones, who is required as a requirement of their function to be anointed. For example, the Kohanim were to ensure that the fire, the Aish, the Isat, the fire of the altar never went out, and that the whole burnt offering known as the Olah, was consumed as it burnt throughout the night. Additional rules concerning the removal of ashes from HaMizbeach, from the altar, the portion of the offerings that were to be given to HaKohanim, the priests, and the cleansing of the utensils are also given. Here. Now, each Kohen, each Kahan, if you please, was obliged, each priest was obliged to bring a grain offering, a mincha, often referred to as the mincha. So each priest is obliged, is obligated, has an obligation. Each priest was obliged to bring a grain offering that's known as the mincha or the mincha. Mincha, but often in modern Hebrew sound like mincha, the mincha. We'll say something like mincha, but in the Hebrew, the mincha. Now, what's interesting about this right here, in King James Version, you'll find this offering often referred to as the meat offering. But more properly translated, the mincha offering, more properly translated, is the meal offering. And the meal offering, right, which in the KJV is called the meat offering, is actually a bloodless offering because it's really the grain offering. Do a short on that. On the day that he served in the sanctuary. So once again, each priest was obliged to bring a grain offering, mincha, on the day that he served in the sanctuary. And the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, was required to bring a grain offering each day. So every day that meal offering, that mincha offering, the high priest was required to bring that each day. Half of that was burnt upon the altar in the boker, the morning, and the other half in the afternoon. Now, grain offerings, the mincha offerings, the minchot offerings brought by others were regarded as food for the Kohanim. So when others of Yisrael brought their grain offerings, their meal offerings, right, this was regarded as food for the Kohanim, food for the priests. After a quote handful, after a handful had been removed to be burnt upon the Mizbeach. So you're getting a picture of what was required, a basic of these principles here. It's very interesting, right? Because each priest was obliged to bring a grain offering, mincha, on a day that he served in the sanctuary. The high priest was required to bring a grain offering each day, and half of that was burnt upon the altar in the boker, the morning, and the other half in the afternoon. Grain offerings brought by others who were not priests were regarded as food for the Kohanim, for the priests. That's only after a handful. So when other people bring their meal offering, right, this is the food, right, but before the priest could receive that as food, a handful had to be removed to be burned upon the Mizbeach. Likewise, portions of some of the living creature sacrifices, the animal sacrifices, were given to the Kohanim, to the priests, for food. And this is only after the fat, the chalev, and the dam, the blood, had been removed and burnt on the Mizbeach. So even this principle here of before the priest could consume of those offerings, which which direction says are theirs, they had to first remove that handful, right? That handful, and some of the portions of the animal, right? Likewise, the portions of some of the animal sacrifices, not all of them, but some of the animal sacrifices were given to the priests, for food. But that's only after what had to be removed. What were they forbidden to eat? The chalev and the dam. The fat, the chalev, and the dam and the blood. So the fat and the blood had to be removed and likewise burnt on the Mizbeach. Now, after these Torot, right, these laws, direction, instruction were given, Hailahim instructed Moshe to consecrate Aharon and Banav and his sons for their service in the kahuna, for their service in the priesthood. Now, what did this involve? This involved washing them with water, right? Even a kind of a symbolic of baptism. This involved washing them with water, arraying them in the priestly garments, and anointing them with the holy oil. This is why we say they were the literal Christians or anointed ones in the camp. During the ordination, it becomes a shadow, right, of the substance of the Brit Chadasha, right, of those who have been made priests and kings. It says, during the ordination ceremony, a sin offering, a chatat, and a olah, a burnt offering, was slaughtered on behalf of the Kohanim, the priests. And then a special, quote, ram of ordination, a special ram of ordination, which is referred as the El Ha-Miluim, the El Ha-Miluim, the El Ha-Miluim was slaughtered. Some of this ram's blood was put on the right ear, right thumb, big toe and the right big toe of the Kohanim, the priest, and the rest was sprinkled around the Mizbeach, the altar. The sacrifice was then waved. Here we get a true type of what the making of the cross is a kind of a shadow of, if you can over it right here, this waving in the four cardinal directions, right? The sacrifice was then waved, lifnei Yahuwah, and its meat was eaten with unleavened bread at the entrance of the Mishkan. This is all part of the ordination of the Kohanim, right? Aharon u'Banav, Aaron and his sons, Aharon u'Banav, were thereafter required to remain within the Mishkan, within the tabernacle, for 7 days and nights until their period of consecration was complete. Now, one interesting note about even the word consecration used in this sense, it has a sense of filling, right? So we read the word consecration, when we look at the Hebrew sense, it's like filling them, right? It's like the sense of filling, filling them. Even within the ram of ordination, El Ha-Miluim, almost like a ram of fullness, right? And so the consecration of the priest has a lot to do with their being filled, right? They're being filled. But right here, Chabarim, basic synopsis right here for this 25th sabbatical study for this Shabbat Strong, for Shabbat Tz'av, Shabbat Tz'av, Shabbat Command. Here, we have a psalm. Let's touch on today's daily psalm according to the royal order of the Ethiopian Hebrews after the order of Malachias Edek. Bowling again, Shalom Chaverim. Here we have today's daily psalm. We have Psalm 9.
Hear this, all ye people. Give ear, all ye inhabitants of the world, both low and high, rich and poor together. My mouth shall speak of wisdom, and the meditation of my heart shall be of understanding. I will incline mine ear to a parable. I will open my dark saying upon the heart. Wherefore should I fear in the days of evil, when the iniquity of my heels shall compass me about? They that trust in their wealth and boast themselves in the multitude of their riches, none of them can by any means redeem his brother, nor give to God a ransom for him. For the redemption of their soul is precious, and it ceaseth forever, that he should still live forever, and not see corruption. For he seeth that wise men die. Likewise the fool and the brutish person perish, and leave their wealth to others. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. Nevertheless, man being in honor abideth not. He is like the beast that perish. This their way is their folly, yet their posterity approve their saying. Selah. Like sheep they are laid in the grave. Death shall feed on them, and the upright shall have dominion over them in the morning, and their beauty shall consume in the grave from their dwelling. But God will redeem my soul from the power of the grave, for he shall receive me. Selah. Be not thou afraid when one is made rich, when the glory of his house is increased. For when he dieth, he shall carry nothing away. His glory shall not descend after him. Though while he lived, he blessed his soul, and men will praise thee, when thou doest well to thyself. He shall go to the generation of his father. They shall never see light. Man that is in honor and understandeth not is like the beasts, like the beasts, like the beasts, like beasts that perish, 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 that perish. You can run, but you can't hide.
Here, today's daily psalm, we have Psalm 49. Mizmor Mim Tet, Mim Tet, Psalm XLIX, and it's themed Death, the Leveler. I like to go into, kind of a deeper dive in today's daily psalm right here, but that theme right here, today's daily psalm, Death, the Leveler. Here, look, a Rhema tune from Lloyd Sparrow Clark, classic, Heaven, actually it's Hell and Death. Check this, Super Dog.
Hell and heaven, an experience in love. The preacher knows the truth. The rich man, he knows it too. Hell and heaven are conditions in life. When you are can't live in heaven when you are awake. The preacher knows the truth. The rich man, he knows it too. Hell and heaven are conditions in life. We have been brainwashed for a long time. We have been taken for a long ride. The preacher knows it's true. The rich man, he knows it too. Hell and heaven are conditions in life. Our conditions in life. When you are away.
Here, Mizmor, Mintet, Psalm 49, Psalm XLIX. Lamnat Tzayach, Livnei Korah, Mizmor. Shim'uzot, Kol Ha'amin, Ha'azinu, Kol Yoshvei Chaled. Here, the superscription plus the first verse in the KJV. Hebraically, these are the first two verses. KJV reads, to chief musician, Lamnatseach, to the Menatseach, the chief musician, musical leader, to the overcomer also in the Hebraic sense, even in the New Testament, Menatseach, the overcomer. But in this context here, Lamnatseach, to the chief musician, a psalm for the sons of Korah, Livnei Korah. Hear this, all ye people. Give ear, all ye inhabitants of the world. Note right here, the ye in the KJV, in those sections we see it italicized, it's not really there. So more of the force of the Hebrew, hear this, all people. Give ear, all inhabitants of the world. Hear. Shim'u zot, Shim'u zot. Hear y'all zot, hear y'all this. Call ha'amim, all the people, all the all the peoples. Call ha'amim. Ha'azinu, broaden the ear. Ha'azinu, broaden the ear, y'all. Ha'azinu, call Yoshvei Chaled. Call all Yoshvei, those who sat up, Chaled, all ye inhabitants, all you sit-uppers in the Chaled, in the world. But right here, let's go over the overview for today's daily psalm. According to the royal order, here we have Mizmor Mem Tet, Psalm 49, Psalm XLIX, and the theme, Death the Leveler. Now, the link between this Mizmor, this psalm, and the group of three that precedes it, is that they are alike addressed to all your peoples. So it didn't say just like Amo Yisrael, the people of Israel, but it said, Call ha'amim, all the amim, call ha'amim, all the peoples. So the link between today's daily psalm, Mizmor Mem Tet, and the group of psalms, the three that preceded, so we have 48, right, 47, we have 46. Those three that precedes it is that they are all alike, together addressed to all your peoples. Now, the latter called upon all humanity, right? The latter that's called upon all humanity to acknowledge Elohim's kingship, to acknowledge Elohim's kingship, the true God, the true good's kingship. Now, it deals with a problem, right? A problem that exercises the mind of all thinking persons and should be read in connection with Psalm LXXIII, with Psalm 73. Psalm 73, Psalm LXXIII should be read in connection. Wealth, for example, wealth. Wealth is seemingly unequally distributed. Some possess more than their due share and derive from it power and authority over the poor, over the pope. Now, this seemingly unfair arrangement must be due to divine ordering. Yes? So, if so, how is it to be explained? The solution that the psalmist and I put forward here is that the might of wealth is limited. The might of wealth is indeed limited. For example, it cannot ward off the oncoming of death, no matter how much wealth one might have. They can't ward off. It's limited. Cannot ward off the oncoming of death. And at its advent, the rich are reduced to the same level as the poor. They're on the same level. Their wealth doesn't really matter, right, to their condition. If that truism were born in mind, were kept in mind, wealth would not breed insolent pride. And in that thought, the poor, in their seeming disability, may hope and expect for the ultimate triumph of right, the ultimate triumph of good over evil. The psalm, the Mizmor, the chant right here, it has been appointed, Psalm 49, it has been appointed for recital in the Yehudi house, in the Judaic, the Judahite, and even the Jewish house of mourning. Key, check this note right here, that this psalm, Psalm Mizmor Mem Tet, has been appointed for recital in the Yehudi house of mourning, in the house of mourning. Right here, today's daily psalm, according to the royal order of the Ethiopian Hebrews and after the order of Malachiah Tzedek, we have Psalm 49. So here we'd like to go through today's daily psalm in a little bit more detail right here, because of significance as well as to its content and theme. So here, let's just ride up right here. Look away, Mattoon, right here. Today's daily psalm, according to the royal order. Right here, we have the Wailers, M.L. Cohen, the Hebrew, downpresser, dub-wise version.
מזמור מ"ט למנצח לבני קורח מזמור. שמעו זאת כל העמים, האזינו כל יושבי חלד. גם בני אדם גם בני איש, יחד עשיר ואביון. פי ידבר חוכמות, והגות ליבי תבונות. עטה למשל אוזני, אפתח בכינור חידתי. למה אירע בימי רע, עוון עקבי יסובני. הבוטחים על חילם, וברוב עושרם יתהללו. אך לא פדו יפדה איש, לא ייתן לאלוהים כופרו. ויקר פדיון נפשם, וחדל לעולם. ויחי עוד לנצח, לא יראה השחת, כי יראה חכמים ימותו, יחד כסיל ובער יאבדו, ועזבו לאחרים חילם. קרבם בתמו לעולם, משכנותם לדור ודור. קראו בשמותם עלי אדמות, ואדם ביקר בל ילין, נמשל כבהמות נדמו. זה דרכם כסל למו, ואחריהם בפיהם ירצו סלע. כצאן לשאול שתו מוות, ירעם וירדו בם ישרים לבוקר, וצורם לבלות שאול מזבול לו. אך אלוהים יפדה נפשי מיד שאול, כי ייקחני סלע. אל תירא כי יעשיר איש, כי ירבה כבוד ביתו, כי לא במותו ייקח הכל, לא ירד אחריו כבודו. כי נפשו בחייו יברך, ויודוך כי תטיב לך. תבוא עד דור אבותיו, עד נצח לא יראו חור. אדם ביקר ולא יבין, נמשל כבהמות נדמו.
Here. Today's daily psalm, Def the Leveler, Psalm 49, Mizmor Min Tet. Also the psalm that's appointed for recital in the Yehudi house of mourning. Theme, Chabarim, today's daily psalm. So, as we mentioned, the superscription, Hebraically is often counted as the first verse. So, that verse there for the chief musician, a psalm of the sons of Korah. Right there. Lamnatseach libnei Korah, livnei Korah, the Bnei Korah, sons of Korah, Mizmor, a chant, intonation. So that's the first Hebraic verse right there. And in the KJV, what is regarded as the first verse, Hebraically, is the second verse. So we're going to pick up right here. So this would be like verses 2 to 5 in the Hebrew. Here, this would correspond, since we are going to go from the Hebrew to the English right here. Let's see, this right here. Okay, so this will be actually 1 to 4. All right, here we have verses 1 to 4 from the KJV. So let's pick up right here with the base verse, the second verse Hebraically, that is the first verse in the translations, King James Version of the Bible, that reads in the Hebrew, Shim'uzot kol ha'amin, Hazinu kol yoshbei chaled. Translation, hear this, all people. Give ear, all inhabitants of the world. So within verses 1 to 4, we have the exhortatory, to exhort, to build up, the build-up introduction, the exhortatory introduction right here. And here, this section right here, beginning off with hear this, Shim'uzot, hear this, call ha'amin, ha'azinu, broaden the ear. Translator says give ear. Literally, the Hebrew word azin, the ear, has a sense of broaden the ear, like make ears in a sense. Ha'azinu, y'all, speaking to you all, call, or speaking to all the Yoshbei, right? The Yoshbei Chaled, all the inhabitants of the world. All ye peoples, here in the Hebraic sense, all ye peoples, call ha'amim, all the peoples, literally is all the peoples. A question of universal, non-partial interest and application is to be discussed. This is something that is universal, right? Not just for call Yisrael or for Amo Yisrael, but it's for call ha'amim. It's for all the amim, all the peoples. World, inhabitants of the world, ha'azinu, broaden the ear. That is to say, give ear, ha'azinu. Call all Yoshbei Chaled. Call Yoshbei Chaled. Modern Hebrew, call Yoshbei Chaled. Call Yoshbei Chaled. Call Yoshbei Chaled. All the inhabitants. Let's zoom into this right here. Well, first let's go to the give ear, because the Shim'u is related to the Shema, speaking to an individual male, Shema Yisrael, speaking to all Israel as one man. Here, Shim'u, give ear, y'all, Zot, this, call ha'amim, all the peoples, ha'azinu. Ha'azinu is from azan. Azan means to listen, to listen, to hear, to listen, right? Azan, right? The root azan, to broaden out, has implication like broadening out the ear because of the word ozen, the word for ear. So ha'azinu, broaden the ear, y'all, call Yoshbei, call all Yoshbe. Yoshbe come from Yashab. What is Yashab? Yashab, the age 3427, according to the Strong's Concordance, Yashab means to, BDB brings it out as to dwell, to remain, to sit. The Kal sense, the basic sense is to sit down, to be set. It both means to sit and the context of to be set, to remain, to stay, in the sense of to dwell, to have one's abode, to have one's abode. In a deeper sense, it can also be to marry in that sense, when we just look at the root sense of the word. But in the context right here is all y'all who are seated, right? Call Yoshbe. The seaters, the inhabitants of Yoshbe, 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 the inhabitants of, it's a constructive sense, so that means it's just the inhabitants of, but something needs to follow it. The word that follows it is Khaled. Khaled. What is Khaled? Khaled here is translated as world. Now, some familiar with Ivrit, of Hebrew, Yehudit, know that also Olam also has a sense of world. But what's the difference here? The Khaled comes from the Hebrew Cheled, the H2465. BDB brings it out as an age, a duration of life, and in this sense, the world. But as we get to more of the root, the ancient root sense of this, it means to glide. In the more primitive sense, the cheled is to glide swiftly as an age, right, as a duration of life, and therefore the, quote, world, end quote, right? Khaled, life. Life in the sense, right, in the sense of fleeting, it glides along, right? Where did time go, right? A fleeting portion of time, the Khaled. So the very unique word for world use, right? And one might think that the inhabitants of the world is inhabitants of the Olam, but it's not using the Olam sense of world, but the Khaled sense of the world. Why? Because Khaled means to glide swiftly in the sense of life, as fleeting portion of time, and in the context of world as something that is transient, right? It's changeable, it's changing, right? The sense, the Hebraic sense is like something that of a short time, right? This construct that we call the world and life, in other words. The Hebrew cheled, we also find this in Psalm XVI, what's that? That's Psalm 15, 16, 17, 17 and 14. Let's just go there for a moment. 17 and 14. What does Psalm 17 and 14 say in this connection, since the word cheled is used there? 17 and 14. Where's this word right here? It says, okay, from men which are thy hand, O Lord, from men of the world, from men of this short time, this age, this duration, lifespan, this time, this simulation that passes seemingly so swiftly. It says, from men, thy hand, O Yahuwah, from men of the Khaled, the men of the world, that have their portion in this life, and whose belly thou fillest with thy hid, the sense of hidden treasure. They are full of children and leave the rest of their substance to their babes. So there we find the word cheled being used there in the sense of man's temporary, his temporary place of abode. The choice of the word right here, Hebraically, prepares the reader and the intelligent hearer of the Ivrit, of the Yehudit, the Hebrew, right, for the theme of the song. It's just in the Hebraic context, because just looking at the word world, one would get one sense of world, but the Hebrew specifies the cheled sense of world because it's this temporary place of abode, right? The fleeting of time, the transience of this life, so to speak. So here. Let's go to the next verse right here. That's now the first verse. In the second verse, who is being called here? Remember, it's a kind of a continuity of ideas in these two verses here, right? In the KJV, the opening first and the second verses is a continuity of idea. Here at the second verse, KJV wise, third in the Hebrew, but the second KJV wise, it says, Gam b'nei Adam, Gam b'nei Ish, Yachad, Ashir, with Evyon, both low and high, rich and poor together. So the fuller sense, Shemuzot, Kol Ha'amim, Hazinu, Kol Yoshvei, Chaled, Gam b'nei Adam, Gam b'nei Ish, Yachad Ashir, with Evyon, both low and high, rich and poor together. Now, both low and high, the KJV brings out usual translations, low and high. But what does the Hebrew say? The Hebrew says, Gam, both, or also, like both in that sense, also both. Gam is like a kind of sense of in the Hebrew, like also, Gam, also, or it can have a sense of both. Also, B'nai, the sons of Adam. So when it says in the King James and translation, the low amongst all peoples and all inhabitants of the Khaled of the world, the low there, according to the Hebrew, is the B'nai, the sons of Adam, mankind, one might say, in general. And then it says, Gam B'nai Ish. Then we have the high are called B'nai Ish. B'nai Ish. So the Hebrew actually says, both ye your sons of Adam, men generally, in general, right? And ye sons of Ish, men of higher station, men of higher standing. So when you see in the Hebrew the word man, or when you see in translation from the Hebrew man, you have to often ask, I wonder what the word in the Hebrew there for man is, because it brings out a clearer context. We have this also in Psalm 4, verse 3. In Psalm 4, verse 3, let's just go there right here. Just getting a basic foundation today's daily Psalm 4, verse 3. It says, O ye sons of men, how long shall my glory be put to shame? B'nai Ish, right? So we have B'nai Ish here, not B'nai Adam, but we have B'nai Ish. Adma, Kavodi, Liklima, Kavodi, Liklima. How long will you, shame my kavod, my glory? But here, that is where the idea that the Ish, right? That's one of the places in Hebrew. So Ish is men of higher station. It's interesting because in the Garden of Eden, when the woman was brought to him, he said that she shall be called Isha, because she came out of Ish. So even Adam at this point had a higher, you could say understanding, and then say, well, you will be called Adama, because he came from the Adama, proverbially speaking, his mother, or the Adama, the ground, the earth, the Adama, Adam from the Adama. But when he saw the woman, he says, you shall be called Isha, because you came from Ish. Right? Just these distinctions here, because both low and high is both ye sons of Adam, B'nai Adam, and the high is B'nai Ish. So the message is for all people. Basic point here. Also for all sections of human society, but especially and in particular, the so-called well-to-do. Rich and poor, Yachad. Here it's interesting, in the Hebrew it says Yachad, right? Yachad. That's the sense of Yachad is like united, the sense of Yachad. But here when we look in the Hebrew, this is usually attached to the next verse, the sense of together, right, as one. Yahad, Yahad, Ashir, Ashir. The Ashir, who is the Ashir, right? Ashir, or sometimes pointed as the Oshir. The Oshir, Ashir, the Oshir is the rich. We're Evion. The Evion, we're, and the Ebion. The Evion. The Ebion. Remember, there was a sect of early Nazarenes, or ones was called them Christians, who were known as the Ebionites. The Ebionites. It comes from this idea, the poor ones, because Ebion or Evion, Ebion means the poor one. So Yahad, together, the Ashir, right? The rich, we're Ebion, and the poor. The rich were to derive a sobering, right? And the poor, from this, a comforting lesson from what they are about to hear, right here, here, here. So this verse right here, 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 moving forward right here, these first 4 verses, in these first 4 verses is the build-up introduction, the exhortatory, exhortatory introduction. So here this brings us to this verse, to verse 3. Verse 3, right here, here, here. The English KJV says, my mouth shall speak of wisdom, and the meditation of my heart of understanding. Now, I avoided the word shall be there because that's italicization. And when we study the Hebrew side by side, we get to see that italicization is not there. Here, the Ivrit, the Hebrew, Pi Yedaber Hakmota, with Haguta Libi Tevunot. Here for the second, this third verse here. My mouth, P, my mouth, Yedaber will speak. Pi Yedaber Hakmot. What's interesting right here is that Hakmot is the plural of Hakma or Chokma. Chokma, wisdom. Here we have Hakmot. We have like wisdoms. We're Hagut. And the meditation, the Hagut, Libi. The Hagut, we're Hagut, Libi. And the meditation of Libi, of my heart, Tibunot, of understanding, but more the Hebrew sense here is plural as well. We have Tibuna in the singular sense of understanding, intelligence. And here we have Tibunot, will be of like understandings, or understanding in the most excellent sense. So wisdom, understanding, as we find it here within this third verse right here, here, as we find it right here, we have Hakmot, plural, Tibunot, plural, wisdom, understanding. Both words are Hebraically in the plural. And this, according to the biblical Hebrew context, it denotes profound wisdom. It's like wisdoms, all as one, understandings, all as one, denoting profound wisdom and deep insight. Hakmot, profound wisdom, Tevunot, deep insight, understanding, understanding, overstanding. Wisdom, Chokmah, in the singular sense, in the Bible corresponds to moral, for lack of a better word or sense, a moral philosophy, the Hebraic moral philosophy. Understanding, Tibuna, is enlightenment upon a perplexity of human experience. And for the Talmudim, the fellow Chavarim, the study Hebraically of the book of Proverbs will bring that out. These foundational senses of these particular attributes, even as they be, can be understood in that context right there. But here at the 4th verse, let's go to the 4th verse right here. KJV wise, it reads, I will incline mine ear to a parable. I will open my dark saying upon the harp. This fourth verse right here, Hebraically. Ateh le mashala azni eftach be kinora chidati. Ateh, I will incline, the sense of like to stretch out, to extend, right? The sense of even bending, bowing, but the sense here, like I will stretch out, le mashal. I will focus, to say I will focus my attention upon the proverb, the parable. Ateh le mashal, to a mashal, azni, my ear. I will incline, ateh, I will stretch out, extend, to say extending the ear, azni, le mashal, to the mashal. Mashal is to say like a parable, right? A proverb, a parable, the book of Proverbs, Mishlei, Shlomo, the parables of Solomon. Eftach, I will open, eftach, fitach, eftach, I will open, bikinor, on the kinor, on the harp, chidati. What is a chidati? My chida. Chida is a riddle. A chida is a difficult question, like an enigmatic saying, a perplexing saying or question, like a riddle, an enigma, perplexing questions, even a sense of double dealings. Also, an idea of a chida can be seen as a conundrum, trick in the sense of a puzzle, sententious maxim, right? A dark saying, because it's brought out as a dark saying right here. Inclining my ear, ateh, azni, right? Ateh, to receive instruction from Elohim, Hailahim, the true good, the true God, that comes in the form of a parable. This is the link here, even with the book of Proverbs. To receive instruction from Elohim, the true good, the true God, that comes in the form of a mashal, a parable, right? And what is a mashal, a parable? One way of defining it is as an oracular, something, a word sound, oracular utterance in poetic style. And oracular, like a word sound, like a verse, a word sound, right? But it's poetical, but within that, one has to kind of understand. There's a deeper understanding. Numbers chapter 23 and 7 brings out a good example, right, from and in the Torah of what we have as a mashal. And the book of Proverbs also has mashal. And Robbeinu Yeshua HaNotzri, our rabbi, the rabbis, Yeshua HaMoshiach, also he gives forward these parables as well. Dark saying right here. I will open my mouth. I will open my dark sayings. I will open my dark sayings upon the harp. They already said in the verse before, my mouth shall speak wisdom, and the meditation of my heart shall be understanding. I will incline my ear to a parable. Eftacha bekinor chidati. I will open my chidati, my dark saying, chidati, up on or by way of the harp. One can say musically, bekinor, on the kinor. What is a chida? The chida, right, is a dark saying. The Hebrew is used for a riddle. A riddle is usually a chida. And here, say chidati, my riddle. And also, as we have here, for a pronouncement up on an enigmatic problem, enigma, right, a puzzle. But how does he seek to do this? Up on, upon the harp, right, to the accompaniment, right, of string music, B Neginot. Binginot, B Neginot. So here, the exhortatory introduction that we have here in these verses right here before we ride up. Take a Selah moment and pick up. Yes, sir. Right.
Psalm 49. Hear this, all ye people. Give ear, all ye inhabitants of the world, both low and high, rich and poor together. My mouth shall speak of wisdom, and the meditation of my heart shall be of understanding. I will incline mine ear to a parable. I will open my dark saying upon the harp. Wherefore should I fear in the days of evil, when the iniquity of my heels shall compass me about? They that trust in their wealth and boast themselves in the multitude of their riches, none of them can by any means redeem his brother, nor give to God a ransom for him, for the redemption of their soul is precious, and it ceaseth forever, that he should still live forever, and not see corruption. For he seeth that wise men die. Likewise the fool and the brutish person perish, and leave their wealth to others. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. Nevertheless, man being in honor abideth not. He is like the beasts that perish. This their way is their folly, yet their posterity approve their saying. Selah. Like sheep they are laid in the grave. Death shall feed on them, and the upright shall have dominion over them in the morning, and their beauty shall consume in the grave from their dwelling. But God will redeem my soul from the power of the grave, for he shall receive me. Selah. Be not thou afraid when one is made rich, when the glory of his house is increased. For when he dieth, he shall carry nothing away. His glory shall not descend after him. Though while he lived, he blessed his soul, and men will praise thee, and thou doest well to thyself. He shall go to the generation of his fathers. They shall never see light. Man that is in honor and understandeth not is like the beast, is like the beast, is like the beast, that perish, 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 that perish.
So here, today's daily psalm is Mormin Tet. So the first four verses right here, going through the exhortatory introduction. Then in verses 5 to 12, we have wealth and death. Theme here is wealth and death. Verses 5 to 12, KJV, Hebraically verses 6 to 13. But in the King James Version, just to ride along right here we pick up with the fifth verse, KJV wise. The Hebrew says, Lama ira, bimei ra. Aon or Avon or Akovai Yisuveini. Now, this is an interesting verse here because KJV often brings it out as, wherefore should I fear in the days of evil when the iniquity of my heels shall compass me about. Now, note that the word when, KJV-wise, is not there. We also have this likewise in the Hebrew, but there's one particular word that there is two readings of it from the Hebrew. It's interesting, the KJV, adopts the MT or the Masoretic text view that we have translated here. Wherefore should I fear in the days of evil, the iniquity, strike the when right there, that's not there, the iniquity of my heels shall compass me about. Hebraically, it's brought out right here as interesting. Here it says lama, 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 why? For what? Lama, lama, why? Lama, ira, lama, ira, lama, ira, 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 I to fear, be may, be in the yemay, in the days of Ra, in days of Ra, Ra. Now, Ra is interesting because Ra, word for evil, it can refer to even like the context, contextually, like a evil man or evil person. But the sense of evil is very interesting, and it is also very peculiar, right? What I mean by that is harmful days, bad days, days of sadness, days of, anything that's not good and beneficial, right? So this is the Hebrew sense when we talk about evil or evil days. Hold on for a moment. Let me see this right here. All right. Yeah, so here it says, wherefore should I fear in the days of evil? But there's an alternative reading to this too. When the iniquity or the iniquity of those who deceive me surrounds me. Now, Hebraically, this particular verse is brought out in the KJV to reflect the Masoretic. So let's get to this verse right here, this particular word in this verse. First part of the verse first, wherefore should I fear in the days of evil? Lama ira, lama ira. Why I to fear? Why will I fear? Why will I fear? Lama ira, bimei ra, times of suffering. Yemei Ra'a, the Bimei in the days of Ra, times of suffering from the injustice of the rich who use their privileged position for their own advantage by exploiting the poor. This is the context, right, of this here in today's daily psalm. Lama ira, Bimei Ra, Bimei Ra. Now here is the part that is somewhat interesting, looking at translations. So here where it says the iniquity of my heels, you check that right there? The iniquity of my heels is how the King James Version brings it out. Hebraically, coming from the Hebrew right here, when the iniquity of my supplanters compasseth me about, the iniquity of my supplanters, right? So the MT vocalizes, the Masoretic text, they say vocalizes my heels, right? Ikabai, 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 ikabai. But then also we have the vocalization right here of akubai, akubai, ikubai, ikubai, which can be supplanters, or in a contextual sense, one's deceiving, right? Yisubeini, they encircle me, right? My supplanters compasseth me about. Wealthy neighbors who deprive him of his rights. Because from a certain reading, as we have in the KJV, my heels, which you could see it like that, my heels, but then it kind of throws off the fuller context of the translation. If you take that verse by itself like that, you know, we can apply it like, yeah, man, you know, I did bad when I was young, and now, you know, I'm reaping what I sow. You know what I mean? That's one way of interpreting the verse from how King James Version, where it says, the iniquity, like, wherefore should I fear in the days of evil, when the iniquity of my heels compass me about? Right? This almost like puts this like on me, like, yeah, I must have done something right here. But the full context is, wherefore should I fear in the days of evil, times of suffering, the injustice of the rich who use their privileged position for their own advantage, exploiting, harming, right, and trotting down the poor. And therefore, my supplanters, akevai, right, here brings out this sense, iniquity of my supplanters, those who seek to. The interesting thing about Akab, as we have Yaakov, the name Jacob from, to supplant in that sense. But it also has a sense of heel, you know, and the sense of consequences, right? But let's move forward right here. Here we can return to kind of further investigation of the two interesting, you know, readings, you know, of this, right? Some bring out the sense of when wickedness of those who deceive me surrounds me. The wickedness of Akubai, right? The wickedness of those who deceive me, Yisubeini, they surround me. This is or when like almost like when bad people are all around me. This is that context here, right? While King James uses another translation, when the iniquity of my heels compass me about. I don't know if ones and ones are getting how there's like two interpretations of that. One, like I said, the normal, usual KJV, it seems to put the onus like on an individual, and one can lift that particular verse from there. You know, as some of us, even I, have read that verse like that in the KJV, and then studying the Hebrew, I say, wait, I get that. I could say, yeah, why should I fear in the days of evil when the iniquity of my heels compass me about? The things I did, they coming back to me. Yeah, you can get that meaning from it. But that meaning does not fit the fuller context of the song. How do we know this? Well, right here. Let's go to the next verse in this section here, this section that is properly themed wealth and death. Verse 6 right here. Let's go to verse 6 right here. They that trust in their wealth and boast themselves in the multitude of their riches. You know when they have a thing in school called reading comprehension? Right? As Old English poetry, okay, hands down, great Old English poetry. But when you get a sense comprehension from the other sense, iniquity of my heels compass me about, you know, it almost seems to say something that it doesn't when you move to the next verse. But when you keep it in the context of wherefore should I fear in the days of evil and iniquity of my supplanters, those who seek to deceive me, you know, to cheat me, you know, are compassing me about, of them that trust in their wealth, going on with the idea, because remember in the proper text, it's a semicolon or a comma, the idea continues in the next verse, of them that trust in their wealth and boast themselves in the multitude of their riches. So this brings out even a sense of a question, you know what I mean, within the Hebraic sense. So here, let's bring out the Hebrew right here. Habotachim, al chelam, u beroba ashram, yita hallelu. They boast. But they boast because they're wealth. Yita hallelu, the halal. Yita hallelu. They, in the sense of they boast themselves. It's a hitpael sense. So it's reflexive. It's like they're doing this, but they're doing this for themselves. Yita hallelu, right? Let's break this down right here. Trust in their wealth. As the righteous have faith or trust in Elohim, Yahweh Eloheinu, for their support. So the rich who put their trust in their wealth as the means of obtaining security, Ha bot achim, Botachim, they are confident, the confident ones. Al Chelam. Now, here's what's interesting about the word Chelam. Chelam comes from the Hebrew, the H2428, Chayil, Chayil. As you have Chayla, power, Chayil. We have Chayil, the H2428, which the BDD defines as strength, might, efficiency, wealth, and army. So Chayil is Hebrew. Chayil, right, as in Chayle, but Chayil is Hebrew. It has a multi-level application. Literally, it's strength and might, something that prevails over, like a power that prevails over, like efficiency. But it can be wealth, and Hebraically, it's usually used for army. Strength, also ability, efficiency, that somebody had ableness. Like we have the virtuous woman in Proverbs chapter 31, verses 10 to verse 31. The Proverbs has a virtuous woman, and the Hebrew calls her Eshet Chayil. Eshet Chayil, or Oset, Eshet Chayil, Chayil, a woman of strength, a woman of power, right? Can also mean a woman of wealth, a woman of ability. In another sense, especially a modern sense, it's like a soldier woman on a certain level, woman of force, because the word Chayil also means force, army. But the context of this is activity as well, one who is able, right? You know, is vigorous in that sense, virtuous. Because if you look up the word virtue, virtue actually means like strength. The word virtue, literally from its etymological roots, it means strength, right there. But now in this context, they that trust in their wealth, right? They that trust in their wealth can also be interpreted as those who trust in like their power, right? Ha botachim al chelam, in their chayil, chelam, upon their strength, upon their power, upon their wealth, and boast themselves in the multitude, and how enough they are rich. How enough. The Hebrew brings out an interesting sense. U berov, modern Hebrew, uvrov, u and be on in robe. Robe is like multitude or enoughness. Robe. If you read it in English, it's like rob, but actually the Hebrew of the pointing, the cholem sense, the robe, multitude, robe, abundance, robe, greatness, robe, enoughness, right? The enoughness, and in the enoughness, ashram of their ashir, osher, their riches, ashram, yitahalelu. They make what's that? Hallelu. About this is something that they say in English, which kind of basically comes from this ancient sense right here. You know, they boast themselves. They halal. You see, the ililta can be done for Yahweh to boast in Him, or one can boast in themselves. And this is what them do. Going on to the next verse, the seventh verse right here, KJV wise, in this section of Psalm 49, wealth and death. Here it says, none of them can by any means redeem his brother, nor give to Elohim a ransom for him. Let's look at this right here. Yes, I. There's some interesting verses here as well. Okay, no, I'm just looking at some pointings right here. Let's go to the basic Tanakh reading. It says, ach, brother, ach, not ak, but ach, lo fado, yifteh ish, lo yitain lelohim, kafro. No man, when it says none of them, or none can by any means redeem his brother, nor give to Elohim a ransom for him. A brother, lo fado yifte, ish, lo yitain lelohim kafro. Here, redeem his brother. One thing cannot be bought off at a price, and that is redemption from the final end that comes to all men. See, some people reading this verse, they'll say that nobody redeem, but you see elsewhere in the scripture where one can redeem, right? See, the context of this psalm and the context of this section is wealth and death, right? They're making a point to ransom, to rescue, to deliver from death. The sense of fada, or pada in the other pointing of it is to sever, right? In other words, when death gets a hold of mine, death gets a hold of mine. In other words, that no man can, like buy a next man his brother's way out of it. This is the sense. Not that there is not principles even in HaTorah, right, for redeeming, like the kinsman redeemer, buying back your brother from, a debt servitude or something like that. But from death, no man can redeem his brother. No price, no redemption, right, can be offered from the final end that comes to all men. Not even a brother, one to whom the rich man is attached by a close kinship, and an intimate friendship, can be saved from natural death by the power of money. If he cannot do this for a brother, for someone else, how much less can he do this for himself? So the idea here of ransom, right? We have an idea here of ransom. The KJV brings this out right here. It says, none can by any means redeem his brother, nor give to Elohim a ransom for him. You have to remember that these verses, though they're verses, it's not the complete thought. It's a complete thought or idea that's leading to a continuation of the thought, a build-up of the thought. The psalmist right here has in mind and uses the language of the law of Exodus 21 and 30. Let's go there for a moment. So there is a limited sense redemption, kinsman redeemer, for example, and we can point to that. This is what some people say, oh, it contradicts itself. No, some things in translation and lack of diligent study, you may confuse yourself. You may imagine a contradiction. But here in Exodus chapter 20, 21 and 30, let's go to 21 and 30. It says, if there be laid on him a sum of money, then he shall give for the ransom of his life whatsoever is laid upon him. All right, check. If there be laid on him a sum of money, then he shall give for the ransom of his life whatsoever is laid upon him. But here in today's daily psalm, it's talking about more than just that. But that is there, just a point of reference. Because some might want to point to that and see that there, but not under these conditions, because the conditions are going to be brought out even much more. Let's go to the next verse right here, verse 8. Verse 8, KJV says, now here in some Bibles, King James Bible does this too. They put in what they call a parenthetical. What is a parenthetical? Parenthetical is where they put something in parentheses. And you want to know, well, why is that? When they did this back then, did they put this there? Some would say this is like a idea. They want to set this idea a little bit aside. But in the Hebrew and elsewhere, this idea just continues to flow. The Hebrew don't have this parenthetical. Here in verse 8, Psalm 49, verse 8, it says, for the redemption of their soul, precious, and it ceaseth forever. Here we have this right here, for too costly is the redemption of their soul, and must be let alone forever. So bringing out more of the Hebraic sense right here, it says, for too costly is the redemption of their soul, and must be let alone forever. Where yekar, pidyona nafsham, where yekar and precious, pidyon, the redemption, nafsham, their soul. Where chadal le'olam, no payment. The idea is like the redemption, right? For the redemption of their life is costly, and no payment is ever enough, right? Too costly. Yekar. It is beyond the means of a wealthy man. Because remember, the context here is speaking about wealth, death, the leveler, right? And this section of wealth and death, that though you got wealth, some things you can't redeem. You can't redeem your brother, so you can't even redeem yourself when death is coming. Yekar, too costly. It is beyond the means of a wealthy man to offer a ransom to save his friend's life when Ha-Elohim had decreed his death, and must be let alone forever, or as King James KJV says right here, it says, and it ceaseth. You see, it says it ceaseth. The word is chadal. Chadal, to stop, to cease, desist, to forego, to cease to be, to leave undone. But the Hebrew sense also properly means to be flabby. Literally, if you go to the primitive root, to be flabby, right? That is, by implication, to desist, to be lacking, or to be idle, in this sense of cease, end, fail, forbear. So the Hebraic sense that we bring out is, and must be let alone forever. Wechadal leolam. Wechadal leolam. Must be let alone forever. It were useless to think of attempting such an impossible transaction. I mean, the rich man got so much riches, right? How much he gonna give to Yahweh Eloheinu? What's he gonna give? You know, how is he gonna open up that negotiation to make such a transaction? Right? It were useless to think of attempting such an impossible transaction. This verse is, some say, parenthetical. And verse 10 continues, right? Verse 8. Some say that the 10th verse, right, rather, here the 9th verse coming forward, right, continues the idea. What is the 9th verse? Let's move forward to the 9th verse right here. KJV first up. That he should still live forever, not see corruption. That he should still live forever and not see corruption. We're yechi, and he living odd. Wechi odd, wechi odd, and living odd, like still or going on in a sense, and living, going on. Wechi odd, la netzach. Interesting right here, we have netzach, or as we say, menatzeyach. We have netzach. La netzach here in the sense of forever, right? Lo yireh ha shachat. Lo, not yireh, and he not seeing, that he won't see, that he won't see. Lo yireh ha shachat. He will never see the shachat. Literally here, we have shachat is the pit. Shachat is destruction. Shachat is like to say the grave. That he should still live always. That he should still live. Netzach can also have a sense of like overcoming, in a sense, like in La Menatzayah. That he should live, he should still live always. Wechi od la netzach. That he should not see the pit. Lo yireh ha shachat. That he should not see shachat. He should not see the pit, destruction. Corruption is what has been translated there, but really it says like the pit. So to say, to experience death. This Hebraic idiom, right? To experience death, as we have in Psalm 16 and 10. On to the next verse here, verse 10, right here. Verse 10, for he seeth, see, it's interesting. Think about the sense of see it, right? That he should see, that he should not see the pit. Lo yer'eh ha-shachat. Then it says, ki yer'eh, for he seeth, right? So he should forget this idea that he should still live always going on with his wealth and everything, that he will not see ha-shachat. He will not see the pit like to say everybody else. But then the next verse, verse 10, picks up with ki yer'eh. For he will see, this is what he's going to see, for he see that wise men die. Likewise, the fool and the brutish person perish and leave their wealth to others. This is a key idea. For he seeth, ki yer'eh, hakamim, yamutu. That the wise, hakamim, yamutu. That the wise one, hakamim, yamutu, that they die. Yachada, kasil with, ba'ara, obedu. And the fool and the brutish person, the kasil, right? And together, yachad, together, the kasil, the fool, wa ba'ar, and the stupid person or the brutish person, yobedu, that they perish. With azbu, right? And they kind of like azbu, almost like a person like giving up like a place, an apartment or something. What's azbu? Leave, but it's a little more forsake. Like they forsake, like they leave something behind, right? Leave behind. La acharim, chaylam, to others, to acharim. La acharim, to others, chaylam. Remember the word chaylam? Chaylam, their wealth, their might, their power, chaylam. They forsake and they leave, they leave to others their wealth, right? Here, what's he going to see? Right? He should not think that he will not see the pit. Lo yereh, right? Ha-shachat. But ki yereh, hakamim yamutu, that even the wise ones might die. It must be obvious to the wealthy, right? That death comes to all men. Not just nowadays, but even from ancient times. Even in ancient civilization, they built lovely tombs and everything, but still death came to them, right? Whatever their character or status, right? This is what this verse brings out right here. The fool, the kasil, the ba'ar, right? The brutish or stupid person, the wise person, hakamim, yamutu, right? They perish, they die. Wise men die. Hakamim yamutu. Hakamim yamutu. Wise men die. Wisdom, hokmah. Yeshua Robenu says that wisdom is justified by all of her children, right? But wisdom, which is far superior to riches, does not bring exemption from death, right? Even wisdom, which is far superior to riches, does not bring exemption from death. That they, yovedu, they perish. The verb, yovedu, it suggests that all trace of them is lost. Sense of perish in a sense, yovedu, the Abaddon sense. Yovedu is lost. On the other hand, wise men die. Their life comes to an end. But get this. But the effects of their activity survive. So even though the wise men die, right, just like everyone else, right, if they truly are wise, the effects of their activity survive. But they leave their wealth to others. Whereas la acharim, to the acharim, to others, chaylam, their wealth. They azvu, right, to the acharim, the chaylam, their chayil, their power, their wealth. They leave their wealth to others. At death, class distinction based upon material possessions at once ceases. Quote, in the hour of man's departure from the world, neither silver nor gold nor jewels accompany him. And none of that can go with him. Of course, ancient man, right, from Mitzrayim, the Tawi, and even before, attempted, right, to give the dearly departed some comfort by burying the silver, the gold, the jewels, like if it was really going with them. But then somebody else said, no, it's right here for me. And leave, was it to others? We'azvu la'aharim chelam, and leave their wealth to others. But only Torah and good works accompany man, right? Only Torah and good works, right, accompany man. And even Hakma, even wisdom, right, of herself cannot prevent that. You know what I mean? If it's decreed, right, by her master, our master. However, you know, true wisdom does accompany man because that is Torah and that is good works. But here, just to complete, let's get to a full of this section here. We're going from verses 5 to 12 in Psalm 49. Here we're at verse 11. Verse 11. Their inward thought, their inner thoughts, their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever. The inner thought, their houses forever. Their dwelling places to all generations. They call lands after their own names. I didn't read the italicized parts of it because, you know, we see the secret in a sense that the force of the Hebrew, take out the italicized portions and you get more of the force of the Hebrew. But here, Kirbam, Batemo, Leolam, Misha Kenotam, Lidor Wador, Kau, Bishmotam, Ele Adamot, Ele Adamot. So here, this section here, the inward thought, Kirbam, right, Kirbam, Batemo, right, Leolam, Kirbam, Karab is like what is near to us. So Kirbam is like their nearness, right? In the sense of their inner thoughts. The only consolation that the rich can have is that their property remains in the possession of their descendants and their name is perpetuated by being attached to their estates. This basically kind of sums this portion up right here. Kirbam, their inner, what's really in the midst and inner thought, right, is Batemo, their houses, Le'olam, that their houses are forever, are eternal, right? Misha Kenotam, right? And their dwelling places, Lidor, from generation, Wador, and generation. Kar'u, they call Bishmotam, B by way of Shemotam, their Shemot, their names, Ele Adamot, their lands, their Adamas, their lands. They call their lands, you know, by their names. You know, here, verse 12 here, just to fulfill this section right here, verse 12 right here. All right, even though some would carry it to the next verse because of the Selah. We might carry it to the next verse because of the Selah. But here, this verse KJV says, nevertheless, so everything that just preceded went through verse by verse, right? Almost like an indictment, like these accounts of an indictment, right? It says, nevertheless, man in honor abideth not. He is like the beast, perish. That's a force of the Hebrew. Nevertheless, man in honor abideth not. He is like the beast, perish. It has a force like he is like the beast that perished. He is like the beast, perish. All right, here. But man abideth not in honor. Some bring it out as KJV. Nevertheless, man in honor abideth not. The Hebraic translations, but man abideth not in honor. He is like the beast that perish. The Hebrew right here, we're Adam, Bikar, Bal Yalin. But Adam, Bikar, Yikar right there, Yikar. Yeah, man. It almost has a man of preciousness, of pomp and splendor, in a sense, of wealth, of dignity. That sense of honor, not the kabod sense of honor. Remember, it says Adam. Notice it uses the term Adam. It says Lo b'nei Adam and High b'nei Ish. And here it says where Adam bikar, but Adam in a better word in wealth, kind of like, but Adam having wealth, but people having wealth. You know, in that sense, like people having wealth. It really has that sense. Bal Yalin cannot really last, don't really abide, don't really, really go on. It's like a fleeting thing. Nimshal, liken. The mashal, a parable, nimshal is like ka behemoth. He's like the behemoth. He's like cattle. Nidmu. He's like cattle that are ceased, that are cut off, that are destroyed, that are dama. Literally, he's like cattle that are silenced. The literal Hebrew sense can be destroyed, but the dama has to be like silenced from the dama. So he is like the cattle that are silenced, in a sense. He's slain like the cattle. What's interesting about this right here is seeing that we're also, when we study the third book of Moshe on sacrifices, and we start to study and say, well, why were these different animal types given? Why did like a wealthy man, right, that was caught in a certain lack or uckery, he would have to give like a bull, like a precious, an expensive animal, while a poor man could just bring grain. You know what I mean? It's a very interesting reasoning, but how the likeness of these animal types right here. Right? Nevertheless, man being in honor, right? A man being in honor, people having wealth, don't go on. They're just like the cattle that are silenced. This verse right here. And let's bring it up to this Selah verse, right? This Selah verse right here. But man abideth not in honor. Better, so man in his splendor abideth not. All that he prideth himself on, his accumulation of land and other forms of property, avails him nothing. Physically, his end is the same as that of the cattle. Physically, his end is the same as that of the cattle. And thus it brings out this sense in the Hebrew. It says, Nimshal, he is likened ka behemoth to the cattle, nidmu. Translator says perish, but the sense of it Hebraically is that are silent. He's like silenced cattle. He's like cattle that is silenced, in other words. But the next section coming up here, just looking at the reason and the time right here, the vanity of wealth, the triumph of the upright. So the section that we just went through right here, wealth and death, verses 5 to 12. We have the opportunity here to pick up with verses 13 to 20 right here. Chabarim, right here. Let's share this little word right here. Bob, for a moment.
Look more drums.
Come in. Here. Let's pick up right here. Usually one might properly break it at the Selah, but here just scroll into the verse before, verse 12 again. But man abideth not in honor, he is like the beasts that perish. With Adam bikar bal yalim, nimshal kabahimot midmu. Here, bringing us right here to verses 13 to 20. Vanity of wealth, triumph of the upright. Zedarkam keselalamwe achreihem befihem yerzu selah. This their way, their folly. This their way, their folly. Zedarkam keselamo. Yet their posterity approve their sayings. Selah. Where achreihem, and those who come after them, where achreihem, befihem, in their mouth, yirtzu, they approve, they favor, yirtzu. Selah, pause. The kesel, foolishly self-confident, the sentir zet.com, kesel. Right? This is the way of them that are foolish. Zedarkam kesel. This is the way of them. This is the way of them that are foolish. Kesel lamo. Approve their sayings. In the Hebrew sense, it says, we're achreihem, and those coming after and after them, the ones are after them, right? Befihem. This is like, say, their mouth, in their mouth, yirtzu. In their mouth, they approve. We're achreihem, befihem, yirtzu. Selah. Approve their sayings. Literally find pleasure in their mouth. Befihem, yirtzu. Find pleasure. They adopt the same attitude as their predecessors. They too will meet with a like fate. It's interesting when you hear certain sayings and you say, oh, this is a saying, this saying. Start to break down these sayings. Kolavis kesel, zedarkam keselamo. Right? We achreihem abefihem yirtzu. Selah. Pause. Verse 14 right here. Verse 14. Like sheep they are laid in the grave. Death shall feed on them. And the upright shall have dominion over them in the morning, and their beauty shall consume in the grave from their dwelling. KJV right there, their katsona, lishola, shatu, mavet, yiraim, wa yirdua pam, yisharima laboker, with Oram, le balot, shol, mizabul, lo. Here. This is this nice fat verse right here. Let's break it down. Like sheep. Katson, like sheep. Corresponding to like the beast in verse 12. Their wealth cannot save them from descent, from going down to Sheol, where death takes control of them. So it says, Kadzon li Sheol, shatu. Like sheep, they are shatu. They are appointed for the Sheol. Kadzon li Sheol, shatu. Death shall be their shepherd. Mavet yiraim. Mavet or mawet, mot. Mavet yiraim. Mawet yiraim will be their shepherd. Literally, yiraim. Death shall be their shepherd, and the upright shall have dominion over them in the morning. Wayirdu bama yisharim laboker. And their form shall be for the netherworld, the Sheol, to wear away, and their form shall be for the netherworld to wear away, that there be no habitation for it. With Urama levalot lebalota sheola mizabul lau. The upright. Here we have the upright. Yisharim. The Yisharim. Those who are Yashar, the Yisharim, the upright ones, who had been the victims of their lawlessness, then and now triumphs over them. When is then laboker. Where's the boker? When we say boker tov, good morning, good dawning, good in the morning. It is doubtful whether this means the morning of resurrection, the boker of the resurrection, after the night of death. Probably some say that the word is used metaphorically of the light of deliverance after the darkness, the disillumination of suffering. We have Psalm XLVI, we have Psalm 46:6. Their form, what about their form? The perishable body, this will crumble to dust. And another one going, and another one, yes, the dust. And finally have no need for an habitation. When it says their strength will be consumed, or in the KJV, their beauty shall consume in the grave from their dwelling. Here, to verse 15, Chabarim. Verse 15, KJV, but Elohim will redeem my soul from the power of the grave, for he shall receive me, Selah. So here we have another Selah pause right here. Ak, Elohim. Ak, for sure. Show enough. Ak, not ach. Ach is brother. Ak, for sure. Certainly. No doubt about it. Ak, indeed. Right? Indeed. Elohim. Yifteh nafshi. Elohim will redeem my soul. He will redeem her, my soul. Ak, Elohim, Yifdeh nafshi. Miyad Sheol. From the yad, from the hand of Sheol, from the hand of the netherworld. Miyad Sheol. Ki yikacheni. Ki for yikacheni. He will receive. He will receive me, yikacheni, Selah. The KJV says he will receive me, yikacheni. He will lakach. The sense can also be he will take me, right? He will take me, right? Receive me. But here, the key point here in this verse right here, 15th verse, redeem my soul. Redeem my soul. Hebrew that's brought out as Yifteh. Yifteh nafshi. Yifteh. He will fada. Yifteh nafshi. My soul. Ak. Elohim yifteh nafshi. For sure, Elohim will redeem my soul. Some modern commentators do not see in this verse an allusion to the doctrine of immortality. Some people might see it there. The same view was taken by one named Rashi. Now, the psalmist expresses his confidence that, unlike the foolish who rely upon their wealth, chelam, to save them from the perils that endanger life, he will be protected by Elohim from a premature death. Accordingly, the verse gives the answer to the question in verse 5, wherefore should I fear in the days of evil? The question here, Lama ira bimeira. Lama ira bimeira. Lama ira bimeira. Wherefore should I fear in the days of evil? And here, Ak Elohim yifteh nafshi. For sure Elohim will redeem my soul. Therefore he and I and we have no reason to fear, being under the divine protection, the guidance and protection. Here, moving forward to the next verse here, in this section right here. We have verse 16, Chabarim. KJV up first. Be not thou afraid when one is made rich, when the glory of his house is increased. Al-tira, don't be afraid. Al-tira, kia ya ashir, ki ya ashir ish, kia yirbe, kavoda beto, kavod beto, the glory, the kabod of his house. All right? Be not thou afraid. Al-tira, ki ya ashir, when becoming rich, ish, a man, ki yirbe, to increase, yirbe, to rabba, to become nuff, ki yirbe, what to increase? Kavod beito, kavod, the kabod of beito, of his house. Here. Oh, there's a little overflow note here. From the power of the netherworld in the previous verse, right? Literally from the hand of Sheol, from the coming under its sway through the incidents of death, he shall receive I. Hailahim will rescue me from peril. The verb is the same that rendered took, right? Took in Psalm 18 and 17. But be not afraid. Al-tira. Remember he asked the question, Lama ira. Why will I be afraid? Al-tira. Now he tells, be not thou afraid. Having learned the lesson himself, he exhorts others to adopt it. What lesson? Al-tira. Don't be afraid. The glory here, the kabod here, is actually wealth. When it says, when the glory of his house is increased, when the glory, ki yerbeh kavod beito, this is to say the wealth, the magnificence that wealth can and sometimes do, right, provide. But here, verse 17, Chabarim, verse 17, for when he dieth, he shall carry nothing away. His glory shall not descend after him. Right here. Kilo bimoto, yikacha hakol lo yereda achrai be kabodo, achrai kabodo. His kabodo will not go down after him, like follow wherever he was going. Now this is interesting. Just for more Habarim, the thought here is Job chapter 1, verse 21, and Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verse 14. That is also brought out right here in this verse. Well, let's go to the next verse right here. Time. Here it says, though while he lives, he blessed his soul, and men will praise thee when thou doest well to thyself. Ain't that something? Men will praise you when you do well for yourself. It's kind of funny. It's so truism here in this particular verse, verse 18, Chabarim, here. Kia nafsho be chayao, be bared, we yoduka ki tetiv lach. When you do well for yourself. Kia tetiv lach. When you do well for yourself. Though while he lived, he blessed his soul. Though while he lived, he blessed his soul. Men will praise thee when thou do well to thyself. But get the first part. Ki for nafsho, his soul, bechayayo yebarek. While in life, while he lived, while in life. We yodu ka, yodu. And they praising ka, they will praise you. We yodu ka, kia tetiv lach, when you do well for yourself. In his life, having had his portion with which he was satisfied during his lifetime. He did what? He blessed his soul. He basically, the Hebraic sense of this right here, Kia nafshoa bichayayo bibarek, yevarek, he blessed. He blessed his soul. He congratulated himself on his prosperity and power. And guess what? Men, yoduka, they will praise thee. And they will praise thee when thou doest well for yourself. Ki tetiv lak. The words are, some say, parenthetical and addressed to this type of person. He not only indulges in self-congratulation, but others also, so he congratulates himself and others praise him. But others also praise him when he uses his influential position to enrich, right? To enrich himself. Here, verse 19, Chabarim, verse 19. He shall go to the generation of his fathers. They shall never see light. Tavo, ad dora, abotai, ad netzah, lo yeru or, lo yeru or, lo, not yeru, them seeing or. They will not see the light, right? They will not see the light. It shall go. And the Hebrew really says, it shall go to the generation of his fathers. Tabo acts as a female sense. It's like she shall go. Some imply that she will be his soul. Tavo ad dor abotayo. Abotav avotayo. Goes to the generation of his fathers. Right here. The subject is his soul from the preceding verse. To the generation of his ancestors' fathers, this is an idiom, Hebraicism for dying. Like he was gathered to his fathers. They shall never see light. Better, who shall never see light? These who will never see light. Lo yeru or. They will not see or. They will not see light. For him, as for them, the darkness of Sheol, of the netherworld, will be everlasting, will be eternal. Here. See if we can fulfill this right here. Man in honor and understandeth not is like the beast perish. Is like the beast that perish. Man. Adam bikara wilowa yadina nimshal ka behemot nidmu. Man that is in splendor and riches, man who has riches without understanding, is like the beast, the cattle that are silenced. This is a repetition of the 12th verse with the substitution of understandeth not for abideth not. And the phrase employed here strikingly emphasizes the moral of the psalm. There is nothing sinful in being rich, and a wealthy man may be as righteous as or better than a poor man. When, however, he glorifies only in material prosperity and fails to appreciate the value of the spiritual and of the moral virtue, strength, he then lacks the understanding of life with its God-given, its Elohim, Hailahim given purpose and sublime opportunities. His existence is merely animal, like cattle, and he perishes, and he is to be silenced like the beasts, even the beasts that perish. That's the sense there. We caught that in the previous verse where it says, Ka behemoth, and like the behemoth, like the cattle, right? Nidmu from the Hebrew dama. And what is dama? Dama is to be silenced, is to be dumb, is to be rendered, in a sense, not speaking. Here, just on the outro right here. Let's have the Hebrew in the outro right here. Yes, Chabarim, Yeshua Shalom, Chabarim.
מזמור מ"ט למנצח לבני קורח מזמור. שמעו זאת כל העמים, האזינו כל יושבי חלד, גם בני אדם גם בני איש, יחד עשיר ואביון. פי ידבר חוכמות, והגות ליבי תבונות. עטה למשל אוזני, אפתח בכינור חידתי. למה אירע בימי רע, עוון עקבי יסובדני. הבוטחים על חילם, וברוב עושרם יתהללו. אך לא פדו יפדה איש, לא ייתן לאלוהים כופרו. ויקר פדיון נפשם, וחדל לעולם. וכי עוד לנצח, לא יראה השחת, כי יראה חכמים ימותו, יחד כסיל ובער יאבדו, ועזבו לאחרים חילם. קרבם בתמו לעולם, משכנותם לדור ודור. קראו בשמותם עלי אדמות, ואדם ביקר בל ילין, נמשל כבהמות נדמו. זה דרכם כסלמו, ואחריהם בפיהם ירצו סלע. כצאן לשאול שתו מוות, ירעם וירדו בם ישרים לבוקר, וצורם לבלות שאול מזבול לו. אך אלוהים יפדה נפשי מיד שאול, כי ייקחני סלע. אל תירא כי יעשיר איש, כי ירבה כבוד ביתו, כי לא במותו ייקח הכל, לא ירד אחריו כבודו. כי נפשו בחייו יברך, ויודוך כי תטיב לך. תבוא עד דור אבותיו, עד נצח לא יראו אור. אדם ביקר ולא יבין, נמשל כבהמות נדמו.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio.